This meeting will now come to order. This meeting is the Vergne Board of Zoning Appeals, October 28, 2014, regular meeting, 5:30 p.m. We will begin by calling the meeting to order, which we have done. We determine a quorum, which we do have. All members are present. Have all the members had a chance to read the minutes from the previous meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve as submitted.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All approved. Tonight we have one item of new business. This item is a special exception to operate a religious facility in an R1 district, and the property is located at 183 Jones Mill Road. It's a low R1, low-density residential zoning district. And may we have the report, please, Kyle?
Mr. Chairman, Kristen cannot be with us tonight. She's in a conference, so she put together the report. I'll read through it for the board and for everyone here.
Thank you.
The applicant, Gail, and I'm probably going to mispronounce some of these, but since I've not talked to him, but Gail Rajvong, on behalf of Mr. Fandavong, the owner, is requesting a special exception to allow for a periodic religious services and ceremonies to occur at the existing residence and accessory barn structure located at 183 Jones Mill Road. The parcel is zoned R1 low-density residential, and per the municipal zoning ordinance, it's at section 5.052.1 Part C. Use is permitted as special exceptions. Item 1, churches are allowed as special exceptions after review and approval in accordance with Article 8, Section 8.060. The current owner of the property is a local Buddhist leader. As part of the Buddhist faith, members of the congregation come to partake in ceremonial blessings, meals, and visitations during specific holiday periods during the year. The owner has asked for a special exception to host these periodic religious ceremonies at his existing home, as his parcel is zoned R1 low-density residential, thus triggering the procedural process referenced above and codified in Article 8, Section 8.060. The parcel is 5.75 acres, heavily wooded in the rear, and currently contains an existing 2,300 square foot mobile home dwelling and a roughly 3,000 square foot barn, which sits between the home and the rear woods. The applicant states that the ceremonies will utilize the existing structures at this location. Chris has put together, basically per the regulations governing special exceptions, factors to consider in granting approval of such special exceptions include the following. She's listed those out, and I'm going to go through basically 1 through 8 of what she had put down on each one. As far as access, on number 1, access to the property is limited to one point and is via a roughly 15-foot wide gravel driveway entrance situated at the southeastern corner of the property. The property is directly accessed off of Jones Mill Road, which is categorized as a local road per the major thoroughfare plan. While Jones Mill Road has a 60-foot right-of-way, the roadway itself is extremely narrow with roughly 22 foot of pavement in total. In addition, Jones Mill Road only has access off of Fergus Drive, which first winds through a heavy residential areas, including Heritage Valley subdivision, before it reaches Jones Mill. Fergus Road is a heavily traveled roadway in this area, and it is the main thoroughfare into parts of Lake Forest, Clayton Estates, Hampton Roads, Lake Point, Morningside, and other residential areas. The intersection at Fergus and Jones Mill is extremely congested and dangerous at times due to limited sight vision. Number 2 is off-street parking. She wrote that the driveway to the property is very long, at almost 300 foot long from its terminus at Jones Mill Road to the existing house, and almost 500 foot long to the barn at the rear. The driveway contains 2 spurs that veer off to the west toward the structures, and these could also accommodate parking if necessary. Thus, it appears that there is currently adequate room to accommodate both off-street parking and vehicles turning around. Third item is refuse and service areas. The applicant indicated that members of this religious community visit the religious leader during specific holidays of their own accord, meaning that there is no set schedule or peak time when members arrive or leave. They do not expect large crowds and will not create excessive amounts of trash or refuse that cannot be handled by the existing lot. Number 4 is utilities. The existing structure at this location is on public water, but is still serviced by an individual septic system and not public sewer. The utilities map from Public Works, which I'll show this to you in a minute, included in the packet, indicates that the public sewer is quite a distance from this location Depending on frequency and volume of gatherings, this could pose an issue for the homeowner and the existing septic system. Number 5 is screening and buffering. As far as screening or buffering from adjacent properties, there is no barrier between the parcel and the resident immediately to the west at 175 Jones Mill Road. The rear of the site is heavily wooded, and the front of the site facing Jones Mill Road looks at a wooded area separating the city from the Smyrna Airport. There's roughly 260 foot long by 240 foot wide wooded area separating the parcel from the resident immediately to the east at 217 Jones Mill Road. Although that resident indicated that noise travels through the vegetation and he is able to hear gatherings next door during late evening hours on occasion. Number 6 is signs and lighting. The applicant did not indicate any change in site lighting or the addition of any signage. 7 is required yards. This request does not affect any of the existing required yards. Number 8 is general compatibility with adjacent properties. All of the surrounding parcels, with the exception of the parcel directly across the street in the jurisdiction of Smyrna, are zoned R1 low-density residential. There are 6 homes directly within a 500-foot radius of the property, all of which front Jones Mill Road. And I'll read through her comments and concerns, and then we'll go through some of the slides.
Could you speak up a little bit, please?
Yeah. Hopefully the parcel in question is located off of Jones Mill Road, a very narrow roadway that winds past large wooded residential lots. The neighborhood along Jones Mill Road is older and established, characterized by scenic, rural nature as the road moves away from the city and heads toward Pool Knobs, the campground, and lake access and boat ramp area. In addition to the roadway being extremely narrow at roughly 22 foot wide, there are no shoulders, nor are there any sidewalks present. Moreover, Jones Mill Road is only accessed off Fergus Road, which is equally undersized, heavily congested at peak hours, and presents a dangerous intersection for travelers at Jones Mill Road due to limited sight distance. The lack of concrete or fairly accurate information pertaining to both the frequency of gatherings and the volume at such gatherings is a concern, as constant and excessive traffic and noise could easily become a nuisance for the surrounding neighbors if left unchecked. The lack of sanitary sewer service at this location is also a concern, again due to the unknown factor regarding frequency and volume of usage. The Boza sign has been on the property for approximately 2 weeks, and like I said, this is Kristen writing this report, and I've received about 30 calls and email inquiries, with a great majority, over 90%, being extremely concerned and against the request. The majority of the comments focused on issues such as the existing noise and number of vehicles at or adjacent to the subject location, the negative fiscal effect on established homeowners' property value stemming from an incompatible use, the potential destructive effect on the bucolic residential character of the neighborhood, and the proximity of an existing Buddhist facility on Old Nashville Highway. And then she wrote, as a side note, the City of Laverne does have a number of religious facilities operating either as a special exception or as grandfathered uses in residential areas. Generally speaking, the facilities operating as special exceptions tend to be located in more mixed commercial areas, such as along Old Nashville Highway or directly off of Murfreesboro or Waldron Road, while the churches operating under grandfather provisions have been in existence since the city's early beginnings and date back to the 70s. Now, I will add to the comments that she said she had about 30 calls and inquiries. I had 2 today. Both were against, and both had the same, or pretty much the same comments. Is going, the vehicles, the how many times they're going to meet, how many people will be at these meetings, and just traffic and ingress, egress, just everything in general that basically she's already mentioned in the report. This is a picture of the zoning map. The blue area that is highlighted is the lot in question. This is a portion out of the zoning ordinance stating that churches are allowed as special exceptions in the R1 zone. This is an aerial view of the parcel. Like I say, it's highlighted in blue. Closer view of the tract, as you can see. I'll do it on both so everybody can see. Basically, this is the mobile home and this is the barn area that's been discussed in the report. You see, that's the mobile home and that's the barn area. Here's the procedures that we went through, all 8, or all of them for the criteria for review. This is just showing the ownership is the owner that we basically said. This is the sewer map that was mentioned in the report. Their own septic, and the closest sewer would be probably this manhole here. You've got this manhole, I believe, here also, but to stay in the right of way to where no easements or anything like that would be required, you would have to try to tie to this sewer here. I'm sure with the length of that and probably the depth of that sewer line, more than likely you would have to put in a small pump station or something like that for this to have sewer. It can be done, but there would be a lot of expense with it. This is something she put together for the to show you the neighboring subdivisions. Of course, here's the site. Hampton Roads and Lake Point is in this area. Heritage Valley in this area, and Clayton Estates at the top. I'll go over here to do it. Hampton Roads and Lake Point, Heritage Valley, Clayton Estates, and here's the site. And here's the aerial view of this. And that's basically the report that's been put together.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a representative of the petition here this evening? Would you come to the podium, please? Would you raise your right hand, please? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
State your name and address for the record, please.
Oh, my name is Gail Ravong. I live in 612 Stone Tree Drive, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 37128.
Okay. You heard the report from the city engineer. Do you have any comments you would like to make?
Not really. I just want to tell how our religion gonna be to the meaning of this community. That's the reason why we want to get this, to let all the American people know why we want to do the rezone for the residential to the for residential to use to the commercial to see. And I don't have any comments on that, but I just want to let you guys know why we want to do this temple, to build this temple in there. Start off is like a Buddhist community. In the U.S., we are going to the numbers.
Excuse me. Please extend courtesy to the speaker. Thank you. Go ahead.
Buddha itself, it become legacy to those who are intelligent and open mind. We find the Buddhist community in every state in the United States. The community that we build is by immigrant. Immigrant is like from the Southeast Asia, like, we came here and we want to build out more religion. Why now we have like in here, it's like, we got 3 in Murfreesboro, on Rutherford County, and we got 2 in Davidson County so far, so we want to be this one, the 4th one in here. And then immigrant and locate in the same area. These are the few monk serve people. They do not have any significant reading material for the study, especially for the youngest one. The parent cannot communicate with them. That's why we have to build the new temple, easy for the young kid to access to the temple, to be teaching by the Buddhism. On their parent want them to behave in their own traditional, but they do not care, can feel, or appear and conflicts. Ourselves, then they have the problem in the same family. One other way the same good they can get along with each other as well as happy with them. But some do not have the sympathy with them. In the Western society, especially in the United States of America, as I mentioned above, we do not have significant reading material for the Buddhism, the younger especially Buddhists. We have ceremony, festival for there. The Wat Lao, Pathat Luang of Tennessee, United States, USA decide their problem in community and provide them with Lao Buddhism for this purpose. Wat Lao Pathat Luang of Tennessee had to rebuild a new Buddhism up. Any traditional itself its own value, especially the Buddhism traditional of peace and non-violence, what is the word is to be maintained and pass on the youngest generation in our part of the world for the benefit of humankind. We hope that this committee may approve the useful and the benefits for the monk to serve on our community and our younger generation. The purpose, what we do is like merit mankind ceremony. To serve others just as providing food and needly, contribution to educate, hospitality, and other charitable organizations, etc. 2, we have fasting just as merit making, like rebirth or traditional Buddhism, ceremony from Buddhism teaching, 1 recite, and food offering to the monk. The third one, recite, is start with ceremony, the master ceremony, the light candle palace to the Buddha's statue, imaging. All petitioners should be faced to the Buddhas. Imagine and piece of their hand together to play respect position. The monk ceremony expect behalf of petitioner. Altogether, petitioner accept for the monk, for they decide to take 5 concepts. The head monk guide petitioner in the placing to the following the 5 concepts. The master ceremony then asks the monk to recite petitioner from the Buddha's teaching. The head monk leads to the monk in recitation, in chanting form, beginning and the end of reciting, generally in the same form of all occasional. The offer is the food to the monk is considered as important merit-making activity because the profession of the monk is purposely, spiritually, development and teaching others how to maintain and development, and they do not allow to you is to earn any living. In the same manner as the people, petitioner, the lay to provide just as food and other. The blessing is the monk are having today. Meal and the monk ceremony prepare the offering would contain the flower and the candle. The head monk lead the monk in recitation the few more concept ceremony, blessing to the new house or the funeral. We have activity. We have in January, we have Bun Kun Khao. It's like you do the farmer and we thank who do the rice farming. And in February month, we have like a Buddha month is like a holy day for the Buddhists. And we have like a Bun Pavet. Bun Pavet is like for the prince to become a monk. That's why we admire him that day. It will be in March. And in April, it will be our New Year. In April is our New Year. We have like for 3 days. It will be fall on like 13 or 14 or 15. We celebrate our New Year. On May is Pavit Sandon is like the king, they want the princess back to the castle. That's why we named it is Pavit Sandon. You know, the whole family and the grandkids they come back inside. And then in June, we want like the people who start be like a bishop who passed away. That is the day we like to remember them, how they were teaching the Buddhists to the young generation. In July, we do the celebration just like independent in America, but we do the different way. And mid-July, it will be monk fasting. In August, we have bún called salad. Islamic. We offer to the grandparent or your relative who passed away, that we will offer them the food. And in September, we have Loi Katong. We do like a boating, like a flower, lotus. And we do in the temple, we like buy like a swimming pool, a little one, and then we put on there, and then the monk give them blessing. And in our October, there will be end of monk fasting. So that we do like a tin. Everybody was around the temple to see, we offer the food to the monk. And then we have November, is another Patat Luang festival. In December, we have like another one, will be the Patat Luang temple. Probably you guys heard on Vientiane, there's a capital they call Patat Luang. That's how we celebrate it. I hope that all the board members can see to approve that to let us to have this at a new temple.
Okay, thank you very much. Do any of the board members have any questions? Any questions at all?
We're going to build a temple, or we're just going to use existing?
You mentioned that you're going to build a temple.
No, it's not be, but it's like a built temple because they have a house in there. We just use that house. It will be like service inside. But we're gonna use the barn to make like people to come in together inside there to see the outside the rain, and then the monk will be walk around. We can offer them the food.
Okay. How many members do you have?
We have at least right now it's kind of like about 40 to 45.
And where are they from?
Oh, we from Laos.
I'm sorry. Where you live in Middle Tennessee here?
It's around Laverne, Smyrna, or Murfreesboro, or Nashville. Sometimes they'll come.
Okay. Any questions of board members?
I have one for the building official. If this is in a residential area and they want to turn an existing house into a church, are you going to make, how's it going to be? Is it going to be a mixed occupancy, or are they going to have to follow?
I don't know if anybody right now currently is living in that structure, but you know as well as I, being a certified inspector, that a modular home presents a great number of difficulties to overcome when you convert this into a mixed use, even an assembly occupancy like this building would have issues with egress and ingress into and out of that building. I don't know that the infrastructure within would support the number of individuals that they're asking to house, their monthly religious ceremonies. The barn, I would be skeptical about the use of a barn for any kind of religious service. There's no real protection in that barn from a number of hazards that could exist. But a modular home is not conducive to what they're trying to do on this site. Even a single family stick frame built structure would have difficulty meeting requirements for an assembly occupancy. Mr. Stanfield, you're well aware of some of the hazards with assembly occupancies. I mean, they're talking about 40 people now. Well, as this congregation would grow, as they, I'm sure, would hope that it grows, sooner rather than later, that
I don't think it would handle the occupant load.
Right.
No, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Vergne.
Oh, okay. Thank you. You may be seated. Is there anybody here that would like to be heard? Okay, I'm going to
There's
open.
a gentleman right there.
Right. I'm going to open a public hearing here. Anyone who would like to speak may speak. You will receive the oath, and after the oath, we ask you to state your name and address for the record, and then you will have 2 minutes for remarks. I saw a hand over here. Did you want to speak, sir? Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. My name is Andrew Duke. My wife Angie and myself own the property that's next to this property. One of our main concerns is noise. We've had situations where the adjacent houses on the other side of this property, and I don't know if this particular property is involved or not, but the noise has gone on to midnight, 1, 2 o'clock. One of our main concerns is our property value. We feel like this will depreciate our value of our property without any doubt. And as far as the noise goes, we've got enough noise to deal with the airport. We're right off of runway 32. And we get lots of noise all the time. That's about all I can really say at the moment, but it's a real concern for me and my wife.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
I live in the Lake Point.
Excuse me, state your name and address for the record, please.
Glenda Riley. I live at 132 Lake Point Road in the Lake Point subdivision. And I as well am concerned with the parties that go on in nearby residents. That's further away from my house that we can hear till midnight. I don't know if it's the lay of the land, but the sound travels. Also, the property they're talking about floods. Every time it rains, it floods, and that to me seems like that would be a environmental hazard with that many people. I've seen several grown men jumping out of trees and splashing in the water. I mean, when it floods, it gets that deep sometimes. So I think that's a concern in itself.
Thank you. Yes, sir. You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you
Yes,
God?
sir.
Thank you.
My name is Greg Poff. I live at 1301 Fairley Court. My concern is about the infrastructure to the property concerning sewage, fire protection, backflow preventage. I mean, if you have a sprinkler system in our neighborhood, I live in the Hampton Road subdivision at 1301 Fairley Court. You have to have a backflow preventer. And it's a mobile home, basically, a manufactured house with a barn. And I don't know if they're going to pay for it, but are y'all going to put the sewer and stuff in to support this facility? And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that wishes to be heard? You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. My name is Donald Petty. I reside at 227 Jones Mill Road. I'm 4 properties away from the property in question. As stated by this gentleman, there's 8 points, pretty valid points. Well, my main concern is traffic. Jones Mill Road is small. There's absolutely no shoulders whatsoever. And they're talking about having 40 members now for an occasional use, but she just mentioned there's something every month, and some months more than one event. That's a great concern for me. And how do we know, how are we going to keep it in check? You know, like this gentleman here said, they've got 40 members now. What are they going to grow to? I mean, I'm a member of my church. I want my church to grow. I'm not against them having their meeting of faith, of choice. It's just in the wrong place. You know, it's just in the middle of a residential area. If they want to go find a mixed-use building or a commercial building, that's great. That's where it needs to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Sir? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
I'm J.D. Walters. I live at 113 Lake Point Road in Laverne. I have one question about if this appeal is approved, this zoning is approved for this, would the people that operate and own this place, would they have the right or the ability to apply for a building permit in the future?
Kyle, you want to address that?
In other words, if this facility, if they outgrow that facility and they decide to apply for a building permit, would they be allowed to do that?
With the special exception, you would be able to set restrictions as this board. You could grant a special exception and state that it's only granted with the existing structure. If that's the case, then no, they couldn't do that. However, if you was to grant them just a special exception to have this use on this, in this zone, then yes, they would be able to come back with a site plan to the planning commission and build a facility at that point in time. They would have to meet all the requirements of the city, but to answer your question, yes, they could. As they grow, if they're granted a special exception to have a religious facility in the R1 district, then they would be able to come back through planning commission and construct a building that would be suited to their needs.
The commission here, I really don't think this is a question or an issue of religious freedom. I think we all respect the constitutional rights that we have as religious freedom. But this particular thing, this particular item here of religion, of religious facility, whether it be that or a business facility or a medical facility or an apartment facility or anything else, is out of context with a residential area.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, sir? You swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. My name is Vic Tarasso. I live at 152 Lake Point Road, and I'd just like to follow up a little bit on what the last two gentlemen were talking about, and I think where he was going to go when he finished, before he got cut off here in his 2 minutes. It's not a religious debate here. I don't care. This is a residential neighborhood. This neighborhood is probably one of the two nicest neighborhoods in the whole city of Laverne, and we want to keep it that way. And whether it was anything else that was proposed to be put there, I would not have moved there 8 years ago, and I'm sure a lot of other people wouldn't have either. So there were some specific questions that I thought would be answered by the young lady that spoke up here, and she just mentioned months. She didn't say how many people were going to be there, how many days in the month that they were going to do it, and she did mention build. So that's my major concern.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Richard Floyd. I live at 112 Lake Point Road. My concern also is following up Jamie Walters. If they are granted this to proceed with their temple now, if they are granted the privilege to build in the future, we've lived here 7 years and I've seen the water flow in several different places. We have an issue right now with flooding at the very end of Fergus Road and Jones Mill. We've also seen water come across Jones Mill Road going into the Hampton Estates. And this property that we're talking about, the home is built on 4 blocks. And I have pictures of the 2010 flood where all 4 blocks are underwater. And it's a severe problem, so if we were to, if they were to desire to build in the future and fill in all that land or concrete, where is that water going to be diverted to? Because it's going to have to go somewhere. So that is my concern, that water is going to find another low spot. I know Harold years ago had a drainage put in, and he still has flooding problems on his property even after that. So there would have to be a study done, and who is going to pay for that study as far as if we fill in that low spot, it is a floodplain, you know, where is this water going to travel to?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
That's my concern. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, sir. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir, I do. Randy Williams, I live at 129 Lake Point Road, and my concern is if they're having all these gatherings, are they going to have alcohol involved? And if they are, will their young people be out drag racing on Jones Mill? It's a nice, long, straight, flat road. We already have some out there. I've heard motorcycles and cars come down through there doing probably 100 miles an hour. So it's just my concern for, you know, children's safety and the animals that live on the Corps of Engineer property.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else that wishes to be heard, please? Yes. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. I'm Jimmy Favorman. I live at 1219 Hampton Roads Drive. I've done a little bit of research since I've heard about this on the Buddhist religion, and I know that they state specific times that these ceremonies are going to go on. But in addition to that, members of these facilities have the right to show up anytime they want, and they can leave anytime they want. So a 40-member church, you can potentially have 40 people there all the time. And when it grows, it's going to be even more in a congested area. Laverne has no shortage of empty commercial properties. I just don't see any reason why it has to be an exception for a residential property.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to be heard? Yes. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. My name is Stephanie Vance. I live at 133 Lake Point. When we first came up here, this started to be, as they spoke of, a small community. Like the few houses that were surrounded, gonna go meet in their house or in a barn. From what we're understanding from here and everyone else, she's having people from communities from Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, and Nashville. It was also stated, I believe, by her that they have several synagogues or temples in Murfreesboro. Why are they meeting in a residential neighborhood? Why can't they go to the other temples that are in commercial areas? I drive to Nashville every day for traffic, come home. We're probably in one of the worst areas right now to get out of Laverne. It takes me from my house to get to Murfreesboro Road, sometimes to this building right here, 30 to 35 minutes every day. So now I'm looking at another 40 people or more on this very small 2-lane road. There's one way in, one way out. It's just going to be horrible. At this point today, I'm a bike rider. I can barely even ride my bicycle down that street because of the traffic, and there is no shoulders. So if you're going to add, again, this much traffic coming in, I think it does take away from the neighborhood and from the value of our homes as well. It's not going to be, again, this unique little neighborhood where we all feel where we can go out, we can ride our bikes, we can walk our grandchildren and stuff through there. So again, I think those are important issues that we all need to address. Again, in her growing it and going to build a whole huge church maybe down the road, wow, you could be looking at anywhere from a 3,000 to 5,000 square foot building going on this property. So we have to also not think of this moment, but we have to also look at the future. And then other companies, if this pass opens a gateway for other ones to come and say he wants to build one in his house and et cetera. So that would just really destroy the area, I feel. You're welcome.
Other speakers? Public hearing is now closed. Is there any discussion by the board members?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to point to the board of what we're looking at here. It's normally very contentious, as it normally is with this type of thing. But as a board, we need to look at our rules and regulations, and by looking at the 8 items listed on your sheet per our regulations, I see at least 2 items that conflict with this submission. Primarily, utilities is a big issue, and obviously ingress and egress to the property in question is an issue. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to deny the application as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to deny the petition. We will have a vote by voice, by name. Ma'am?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
It is unanimous. This petition has failed to meet the requirements for our approval. It is denied. There being no, excuse me, please be seated. There being no other business to discuss this evening, this morning, meeting is now adjourned. Now you may get up.